Hi y'all, this is Jim with Sunrise Farm, and this is my beautiful wife Sharon.
Hello, good afternoon.
We just wanted to do a video based on our farm ministry. This is not really a video about gardening or farming per se, but about the ministry we're going to do from our farm. And before we start talking about what that looks like, since we are Christians, I wanted to read from Matthew 22 verses 37 through 40. It says in Matthew, and this is when Christ was asked by the Pharisees about the greatest commandment. And Christ said to them, "You shall love the Lord your God with all your heart, and with all your soul, and with all your mind. This is the greatest and first commandment. And a second is like it. You shall love your neighbor as yourself. On these two commandments depend all the law and the prophets." This is our heart, to love our neighbor, our community, to love as best we can how Christ loves. This is a commandment from God. This is who He's called us to be good witnesses for Him, to honor Him, to bless Him, and to worship Him through who we are and how we act towards one another. And so this is our heart from our farm in ministry, and it's going to start with what we call the First Fruits Ministry. It is just a simple title, since obviously we're doing a market farm here on our property, to do just that, to give the first of our crops, our fruits and vegetables, to those in need. And those in need is a wide array of topic of how that can be. We don't know yet how this ministry is going to unfold, but we want to invite you on this journey with us. We know that there are so many people fighting the high cost of inflation and just food in general from the grocery stores, and it's hard to even get farm fresh fruits and vegetables. And so we want to be able to share our heart, what God has blessed us with here on our farm, our land space, the farm we're developing. You know, you can see some of it behind us, and I'll give you some other video of it as we go. But we've been blessed to be able to plant, and we want to be able to share that with others. Now, there are so many things, like I said, that you can do just in the food portion of it, the fruits and vegetables. People, maybe it's somebody that can't actually afford it, but needs it. But there are so many other avenues of people that get displaced from homes, maybe due to a fire or natural disaster, and they lost all their food. Who knows, maybe it's the simplicity of a single mom with 3 small kids, or a single parent with 3 small kids, that their refrigerator went out and they lost everything. They lost all their food. There are just so many scenarios that you could play out with this. But our heart, my wife's heart, who has been for people in need of food since I've known her from being a teenager. But it goes far beyond just that. That's just our stepping off point, if you will, our beginning point. So Sharon, would you like to talk a little bit about your heart for ministry and feeding the needy and what you see going on?
Sure. Um, if we can just back up, I think it's safe to say that Jim and I both have been in the position of need in the past. We have been hungry before. We have been homeless. We encountered a natural hurricane that came in and wiped out our house, and our baby was 3 days old, our first child. And if it was not for the community, honestly, I don't know what we would have done. We had family but we had outside community that gave us diapers and that gave us formula and was there. And that was, kind of going back to the roots is we know where some of these families are coming from. We don't have a lot. We're a small farm. This is the farm, me and my husband. And I work full time, so it's really him. But our heart hasn't changed, and God hasn't changed our direction. And I know that He's going to fill in the gaps where we can't. But our heart is to feed the community where, where it comes from, we're not sure. Where the people come from, we'll get those resources, and we'll get connections with the schools and with social workers and
Churches,
churches.
just other community
We
organizations.
know those things will come. So our heart is to give a basket of food to a family in need, but it doesn't stop there. My daughter is an administrator in a school, and there's such a great need in the schools that my heart now is to help with a backpack ministry. And I want to be able, these kids come fall, that they can have a new backpack and they'll have their school supplies, and we'll provide that to the school, and the school will give those out, as they see fit. We won't stop with just food and backpacks. As things arise and as our ministry grows and the directions that it takes, we're going to kind of leave that in God's hands.
Yes.
But we want to be available and be servants to help God in what direction He calls us to be. We know that people may look at us and say that you're crazy and that you're going to get taken advantage of and all those things. We know that going into it. We know that at times we may be giving things away and someone may be being dishonest with us. That's not in our hands. Our hands is to do what God is directing us to do. So in the encapsule of everything we're doing, we don't know what it's going to look like. I know that we want to give out food, and I know we want to help kids, and maybe it's the backpack, maybe it's going to be the angel trees at schools, giving gifts at Christmas.
Clothing, whatever we can do.
Maybe it may be the kids get to come out here for a day on the farm and just kind of hang out and see what the farm's about. Like I said before, we have in comparison to other farms, we have a very relatively small farm that we're trying to do big things at. But with that said, we may need the community's help. And by help, I mean pray for us, and
Yes.
wherever you see fit that you want to help with this ministry, please jump on board. Please, leave us a message, and I'm sure Jim has his contact and his phone and all those things in place. If someone wants to jump on board and be a part of it, we would love for someone to go with us to the schools to hand out these backpacks, to families to hand out these boxes, or
Right.
or whatever direction it takes. So again, this is a community effort. This isn't just Sunrise Farms. It's just not our one little ministry. We want to incorporate our community, and we want to network with our community and just come together as a big family
We do.
to help each other.
Yeah, absolutely. We're going to prayerfully open up our property as this unfolds, like Sharon said, to maybe have community gatherings at our place, that maybe just like a giant picnic with some hamburgers and hot dogs, or give people the opportunity to come see where the food is grown, but also to maybe just have that one day, those few hours of relaxation and relationship building. I think that's really a large part of what we're all about, and maybe what's missing in our communities is relationship building. It generally is or should be from the churches, but it can go beyond that. It should go beyond that. The church has actually become something to where it's recognized as a building, when in actuality, biblical definition of church is not a building at all. It's the people of God coming together.
Mm-hmm.
So a church is a body of people. It's a called out people, a called out assembly. And that is something we don't know where this ministry is going to go in full totality. I don't think anybody ever could, even when you're planning something out. At God's direction, it might be that I pastor a church here from the property, but there's also so many other avenues that people need assistance and are hurting. And we hope to work with our partners in the community and to be able to source needs. It could be that an elderly person is struggling and can't afford medications that they need. Perhaps that's something we can partner with. Perhaps there's something they simply, somebody needs a ride to a doctor's visit, or maybe to work one day. Maybe they're trying and struggling. We know what it's like to try and struggle.
Mm-hmm.
You try as hard as you can. You feel like you're doing the best you can, and yet you keep going backwards. That's a that's a hard feeling. That's a hard road. So if you feel like helping, yes, there are some links in the description that you can do that with. If you feel led to give in some way, great. There's other ways to give besides money. There's people that have resources. Maybe they have, connections in one of the areas that we need. It's just about coming together and working as the people of God together. But above all of that, I don't even want this to hardly be a video about money or giving. Honestly, if I'm going to be perfectly blunt, God will provide whatever it is we need when we need it, and how he does it, that's up to him. What we ask, first and foremost and always, is for prayer. We need prayer warriors to help us seek the will of God, to follow and stay on the path of the will of God, and to not let the schemes of the devil, if you will, jump in and distract us from the path we know that God has put us on. So please pray for us. That is my number one ask. I believe it'd be yours too.
And if you find yourself in the Walterboro area, which is where we're located,
That's South Carolina.
Walterboro, South Carolina, and you find someone in need, or a great
True. Absolutely.
something that's going on, message us. We would love to be able to do what we can and try to, again, I said we're a small organization, we're a small farm, but this ministry has been placed on our heart for so long, and we know that God's going to bless it. And if it's nothing more than we make phone calls in the beginning, we'll make phone calls. I was a youth leader for many years, and some of the simplest of tasks that our pastor had us do was go and cut grass for elderly people, or for people that couldn't get out and cut grass. And while the youth worked so hard, it was so rewarding at the end of the day.
Yeah, it certainly was.
We've been a part of blessing baskets and giving baskets for 8 or 10 years, and that was such a rewarding part, and that's what I think has been placed on our hearts that has never left. So a blessing basket, giving food, something we just kind of take for granted,
Oh,
to
yes.
be honest. We don't take it for granted when we walk through the grocery stores, and we understand now that people are having to pick and choose. Do they buy paper towels this week and toiletry items, or what meats do they have to skip this time, and can they even get to the fresh fruit aisle, which we so desperately need. Honestly, we need to kind of get away from the processed food aisle and get over to those outside aisles, but can they afford it? We're hoping we can kind of bridge that gap,
Certainly are.
and we hope that in the end, people will see our hearts and know that we are truly looking out for our neighbors, um,
Yes.
people on our street, people in our community. But if it's outside of our community, we'll still help. We'll figure out a way, and we'll still try to bridge that gap
Yes.
wherever we can.
Yes. The love of Christ has no geographical limitations. So, yeah. So I want to thank you so much for taking your time to watch this video. You've blessed my heart and my wife's heart by taking that time. And yes, please once again pray for us. If we can help you in some way, please let us know that too. This really is about the greatest commandment of loving God, and how we love God is how we love others. So I want to thank you so much for stopping by and chatting with us a few minutes. Uh, you just blessed my heart. So thank you. Have a wonderful, blessed day and an amazing day in the Lord. Take care. God bless you. We'll see you next time because we will be providing updates. Have a wonderful day.